There we go. So we are here for continuing education. It's Thursday night. Do you guys like what we're doing with the every other week? I know I do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Has anyone joined Lisa's wellness webinar on a Friday yet?
I have the first one, but
You mean attended it?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually I did two because I did one while I was working. I listened while I worked.
Very cool. Well, the theme for the spring is there's a lot of things we can talk about, like what I'm experiencing today with like a little extra sneeziness and itchiness just because of the way the environment is shifting in the spring. We can definitely, talk a lot about that during this time of year. But the main thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when it comes to spring, our body is starting to be more open to the idea of cleaning out. So we spring clean our homes, we spring clean our bodies. It's like a natural process for us to do. So that's why we start talking about cleanses and detoxes and getting the toxins out of our homes and everything. So Lisa gave a rundown of the doTERRA cleanse. And one of the things I want to be really like direct in saying is that typically when you do a cleanse, you are putting products into your system, or juicing is a really popular cleanse method, but we're doing something to force our body to cleanse. What doTERRA has done is they've formulated different supplements that are nutritionally based to support the body systems that are considered the pathways or the chimneys. And so the cleanse that we teach you to do is usually a lot more comfortable. You don't experience those typical cleanse symptoms like running to the bathroom frequently. Sometimes people experience that a little bit with the GX Assist, but what I've noticed is that when you are a lifelong vitality user, and then you start incorporating some of those nutritional supplements to open up those pathways, then it just kind of happens a little bit more like comfortable. So the other thing I wanted to say is Lisa started a Facebook group for those on Facebook to do the cleanse together as a group. So if you are interested in joining that group, the email that I sent out this morning had the link to that group in it. So you can get added to that and go through and have that support. So we need support when we do a cleanse, because do you think that it would be more effective if we do a cleanse with these products and we skipped a few bad food items? Yes. When we cut out processed food and sugar, which sugar is also like your refined white flours, that cleanse is so much more effective. And I've known people go 30 days on it and then they continue that particular diet change on through a few months. One of the things I started doing is about every 3 months, I do a no sugar month. The only thing I eat that's sugar is I'll have pasta if I make spaghetti or something, but I'm not having bread. I'm not having sweets. I just really cut a lot of that out, and I'll only allow myself natural sugars that come in from fruit and smoothies and stuff, keep those carbs up. So I did want to just share that with you so you guys knew that was happening. But today we're going to focus our attention on reducing our toxic load with the products that we're using. There's so many ingredients in our products that we buy and that we use on our body, we use in our home, whether it's cleaning or, just the hand soap sitting by the sink that's supposed to clean your hands. Has anybody ever taken the time to read some of the ingredients and like Google them and see what they are?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Kathy, I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Like, what's some things that you learned when you did that?
I'll give it a try. There's a lot of stuff and things you don't even realize, that you're consuming. I bet you can't hear me. You can't hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out a little. Sorry,
I'll get on
type
the
it up.
chat.
Yeah, type it in the chat and we can read it. I did want to say this, and Ami, I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not prepared, but in one of our wellness webinars, you shared a little bit of what you learned about phthalates. I don't know, would you be open to sharing with us what you found that contained phthalates?
It's really basically synthetic fragrances, which can be in those plugins, candles, in soaps, cosmetics. They're all synthetic fragrances, and sometimes even the what they call no fragrance ones. They use chemicals to mask. So yeah, I don't have the oils because hear me because you're frozen on my screen.
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So let's see, you're frozen. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, so there's only a few my eyes and stuff is fur, and some florals bother me a little bit, but I don't get like sick, or I don't get a runny nose like I used to with anybody wearing perfume or any kind of chemicals. Products have fragrance chemicals in them as well. That's why a lot of people, besides the bad chemicals, the fragrance chemicals, and people have to air their homes out after they. I've got a friend that says, "Oh, I just cleaned the house and I've got to air it out," because all those toxic things. So, I mean, it could be just in everything.
Yeah. My mom.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell on my mom a little bit, but she'll probably never see this video. She doesn't think it's clean unless it smells like Lysol clean. And I was raised to, that's all she used. And so when I had kids, my first child, and when he was walking, or no, got to the point where he was crawling and scooting on the floor, I got really crazy about keeping the floor clean. And one time I was cleaning the bathroom with Lysol, and our walls were tiled. We lived in Europe at the time, so like the bathroom is tiled all the way to the ceiling. So I was just cleaning those off, and he was in the hallway outside the room, and he started getting hives. And fortunately, I have good mommy intuition, and I knew immediately it was from the Lysol. So I stopped using it, and guess what I switched to? Bleach.
To what?
I switched to bleach.
Oh.
I didn't know better. I thought bleach was cleaner. Not that it does clean. I mean, it is technically like the best cleaning solution out there as far as chemicals go. But in my mind, I thought it was less toxic. Now what I know about bleach, it's really not about the toxic to your home, but it's incredibly toxic to our environment to be produced. It's one of the most toxic products that affect the environment out there. If you ever want to like do some research on it, it's kind of scary, and it'll make you like never want to use bleach again. Someone typed up hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is just as good as bleach, and it's a natural whitener as well. So I use that in my laundry now, and I make sure to separate my whites and my darks. And then I've noticed things stay whiter longer. So hydrogen peroxide is totally usable. I don't use it to clean my house because I just like water and oils for that. So what are some other things? So let's talk about the things in our like body soaps. A lot of times what we don't realize is that when we put something on our skin, even though we're rinsing it off, our skin has these little tiny things in it called pores. And some of those things can get into the pores and into the bloodstream. The skin, so we have different parts of our body that are designed to filter. And there are parts of our body that are designed to eliminate. So the filtering organs work first, they do their thing to minimize the amount of toxins and exposure that those elimination organs have. So your skin is a filtering organ. Our digestive system, because our mouth and our nose is open to the outside. And when we breathe things in, like cleaning solutions, you walk through a haze of, Febreze spray, and you breathe that in, our nose is going to do its job to reduce the risk. And then so we have our skin and our digestive system, and then we have our respiratory system, which that would be the nose. But the respiratory system is also designed, and it has its own protection methods, such as sneezing, to get that stuff out of our system. Coughing, and our mucous membranes are designed to move through the body and push that stuff back out through the other side. And what's really cool is we can incorporate oils into that, and it kind of does a good thing. So those parts of our body, when they're overexposed, which, let's just be honest, they're overexposed compared to my parents, my grandparents, and generations past. Even though here in Kansas, if I watched a documentary on Kansas, there is a thing called the Dust Bowl. I'm sure you guys have heard the Dust Bowl. There is something that they used to do as a cough suppressant. Do you guys know what that is? Back then? Turpentine.
Ooh.
All over. There's other things that they did back then, like there was they were having women work in factories, radon factories, and mercury, and adding those things to products. And the best way for them to do it is they would have a paintbrush, and they would dip in that mercury, they would lick it with their tongue and then dip it in the mercury and then do their little thing. Those women, like, their faces were falling off. So that's like a really heavy chemical exposure that the body could not handle. But we're being introduced to those things in very small amounts all the time. And so our body is able to filter that out just a little bit more effectively because it's a little bit of exposure at a time. But let's say you buy a brand new car. All of a sudden, your body is exposed to all these toxins all at once really fast. And so you experience headaches, sore throats, and maybe even worse, maybe a flare-up of autoimmune disease. Kimberly?
Yeah, one time we were flipping our own house. We had rented out a house that we loved, and it was time to put it on the market. So we changed everything. We changed all the flooring, we painted all the walls, put in new carpeting. And the day the carpeting was coming in, we had nowhere to go. So we kind of just hung out in one of the bedrooms and played games or whatever. And by the end of the day, my eyelids were so swollen, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I'd never experienced that much I knew it was the toxicity, but then I felt so bad. I couldn't leave the house because I couldn't keep my eyes open. So we were just sort of stuck there. It was awful.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually have a similar experience that happened to me recently. And Nicole, I saw your notes, so I'll bring that into it here in a second. So it's been years since I've been exposed to stuff. When I was introduced to essential oils by actually Kathy Clayton, some of you know who that is, and I started cleaning with them. That was the first thing I started doing. And then, so that was, Ethan was really young, so maybe 13, 14 years ago. And I went to visit somebody a couple of years ago, and the room that they had us sleep in was her candle making room, or no, her soap making room. And it's the room that everybody wants to stay in when they're there because it just smells so good. As soon as I walked in that room, there's like counters with just soaps out and walls of bottles of fragrance. immediately I knew this is not a good idea. And within 30 minutes of just being in that room, my eyes were swollen. My face, I wanted to scratch it off. It was so itchy. I was putting all kinds of oils on me, like lavender, all over my face. And it was really, really bad. In fact, that's the first time, and I was smart to do this, but that's the first time I actually had to take an antihistamine in a situation like that because it was such an overload. And we know that oils are really effective at helping us, but when you're exposed that much, it's almost just too much for your body to handle. And so I started having a very bad cortisol, or not cortisol, histamine response to that was affecting me internally even. So I love that I have such little exposure to those things, but it kind of sucks that when you do get that big exposure, your body can't handle it. So going to cleaning products, using my essential oils first that way, all I did was put a bottle of water together and drop essential oils into it. And so I know, Nicole, you wanted to add something about cleaning products. So I kind of want to hear what you have to say too.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that before I came across essential oils, doTERRA specifically, I was already kind of into natural things, you know? And so I think that like moms like me that are looking for that natural alternative still are still getting those toxins less, but we're still being exposed to them by these mainstream companies that are putting out these products that still have, they're what we call greenwashed. It's kind of a big term now. Like you think you're buying a natural product, you think it's better for your family, but really it's got stuff in it that's still harming you. So even like this past week, I went through my house and was like taking cleaning products that I haven't used in a while, but I still had, and they were like natural. But now when I spray them and I smell them, even just like it's the smell, because a lot of them have fragrance listed on them. So you're still getting that toxic load from that, unless you know that they're using something more natural. So I think we have to be careful even when we're buying something that's natural. And when you even bring up the topic about like the soap making and stuff, like there's a local lady here that makes like goat milk stuff, but she uses synthetic scent, like fragrance in all her stuff. So I want to support and I want to use that, but I don't want to get those fragrances anymore. So it's like I don't buy from her because of that. So it stinks that people that, you know, that you have to do that still. Like you can't just, oh, it's natural, I'm gonna get it. You still have to look at the label. You still have to like really know your stuff so that you're not getting those chemicals snuck into your home in other ways.
Yeah, and it's interesting because people want to use natural soaps, natural things that these makers make, but there's a problem. Those synthetic fragrances that they use, while they do a good job at making those things smell good, there's a reason for that. And there's a reason why using doTERRA essential oils in your soap or candle making isn't as effective for fragrance. Do you guys know why that is? So you know how we talk about essential oils are volatile? They evaporate. So if you use a whole bottle of lavender for one candle, it's not going to stay in there like a synthetic fragrance will. So that's why it's needed. I've had a couple of people I've worked with where we've played around with it. Vetiver is the #1 essential oil used in the fragrance industry because it's thicker and it's a little less volatile than the rest. So I was like, let's try that and let's see if it holds that orange oil in a little bit better. And it did help a little bit, but not near as well as those synthetic fragrances. Not to mention, they're cheaper. So I get that. There's so many people I want to support, but I can't. That stuff's just too strong and I don't want it on my babies. Okay. So let me go back to train of thought. So I was going to share with you too that when my kids we used to homeschool, and so we put the kids in school, and the thing that the kids always had to do is hand sanitizer when they go in and out of the room, and this is definitely pre-COVID. But I got a call from the principal, and my son had used the hand sanitizer the first time and his hands broke out in hives. And it's the first time he had used hand sanitizer ever in his entire life. So it was kind of interesting to me to have this conversation with this principal and let him know, well, we are a toxic-free home. His skin's not used to that. So really interesting. I just wanted to show this to you guys. So where I work in the wellness club, we have a rule that all the products that we sell are sustainable, toxic-free, and he's lucky to have me because I do a lot of research on these things. And so when we had to make sure that we had hospital grade cleaning solutions, that posed a problem because most hospital grade cleaning solutions are really, really bad for you. And so we were committed to our original commitment. And so I actually found a product, believe it or not, this right here is a hospital grade non-toxic hand wipes. We have these in all of our rooms. And as much as I wanted to have essential oils in all of the rooms and everything, it had to be a hospital grade approved thing with like so much alcohol, and it had to be able to kill certain viruses and bacteria. So this, believe it or not, is hospital grade, and its number one active ingredient is hydrogen peroxide. How cool is that? So some of the staff do like to use essential oils with it because it makes it smell better, because it doesn't really have a smell. It smells like hydrogen peroxide. So I did want to share that with you, that there are hospital grade stuff out there that is available that is approved by the FDA for those things. And hydrogen peroxide is approved for that. So is alcohol. And if you do need to make anything with alcohol, like a hand sanitizer, use ethyl alcohol because it's made from corn. Nicole.
I was just gonna piggyback on what you said about the hand sanitizer stuff, because right now, you know, when you go places, they always ask you to use hand sanitizer, and usually they'll have their own thing of it there. So like, I always bring my own. So when I went to go visit my mom in Costa Rica, they're very, when you go to the grocery store, they have like this thing, kind of like people line up and they all get their hand sanitizer, you know, they put it on. It's like, it's kind of like a social expectation. Everybody's waiting for you to do it, you know? So when I went, she was kind of complaining about that. And I said, well, why don't you just use your On Guard hand sanitizer? Like, that's what I do. So when we went into the grocery store, you know, I just went over, I was like, and I just sprayed my hands and did it and was fine, you know? So now my mom's like so excited because she's like buying up all her hand sanitizer. Like, I just do that now. So it's so much better going to the grocery store. Like, that just makes her grocery trip now that she can do her own thing because she loves the scent of On Guard anyways. And she's still, you know, doing what is expected. So I think if anybody is in that situation, just bring your spray and do your thing.
Yeah, we actually, because it started last year, the quantities started dropping and it was gonna be harder to get. I made sure it was always in my cart. So I have so many of those hand sanitizers now. I give them out more often now. But one thing I will point out is the alcohol that's in that is ethyl alcohol, and it's at a level 60% or above, which makes it FDA approved as a hand sanitizer. And that's what they were looking for in businesses and in the schools. It needed to just be something that was 60% alcohol. Kimberly?
So when it was short, we were making our own for a little while. You couldn't get the hand sanitizing spray. Right. Is it possible to get ethyl alcohol off the shelf somewhere?
So I ordered ours here that I got for our business from Amazon. I bought a gallon. Okay. That stuff is legit. When you're using it, you need to cover your face and wear gloves. It is, like, it's stronger than vodka. I was really surprised. I was expecting it to be like vodka, but when I accidentally got some on my fingers, I didn't have any wounds or cuts or anything, but man, that found them. They were in there somewhere and it stung so bad. So that stuff is really, really legit. So I would fill a bottle up about halfway of that, and I added aloe and actually I added our fractionated coconut oil to it instead of vitamin E because it's cheaper. and then a ton of essential oils. And it's the first batch I made, we joked about it being the margarita. Anybody want a margarita? Because it smelled just like it because of the aloe and orange that I put in there. So anyways, so yeah, there's totally ways to do it and still be non-toxic, because that ethyl alcohol, like I said, it comes from corn. So
Or you could just use water and On Guard, which is usually how I do my refills now. And then it's also safe to spray in your mouth.
well, yeah, totally for personal use, but for situations where it has to be a
Right,
certain level,
right.
then yeah. Otherwise I wouldn't use alcohol, because I know On Guard kills just as much as the other stuff. So okay, so let me kind of go to some of my notes really quick. So when it comes to toxic-free living, let's talk about our home for a second. We have two categories that we kind of want to think about. We have household products and we have personal care products. And companies like doTERRA, what I love, and I trust them so much to put things in their products that are safe. And when something has a question mark, they're able to explain it so that, oh, so that makes a lot of sense. Because there are some ingredients that when you do a little research, you read something about it and it's not maybe as clean or toxic free as you would hope, but there's usually many different types of that particular ingredient. So when everyone started getting nervous about alcohol being in the hand sanitizer, they were able to come back and say it's ethyl alcohol and it comes from corn and it is natural. And so that was like, oh, okay. So that really helped. And there are other things too, and they're always reformulating things to get out those ingredients that have that question mark, even though they are safe. So one thing I do want to talk about is that, let's see, I just want to read my notes here. So while some companies make products that are safe to eat, other companies choose to use known human carcinogens or developmental toxins like coal tar and lead acetate. When risky chemicals are used in cosmetics, the stakes are high. So we talked about the skin filtering, and that stuff goes into our bloodstream. These are not trace contaminants like those found at part per million or even part per billion levels in food and water. So what it's basically saying is that in food and water, we have trace contaminants, but when they make makeup, those are not trace contaminants anymore. They are much bigger. So these are the base ingredients of the product, just as flour is an ingredient in bread. These chemicals are found in percent levels in personal care products. Nearly all easily penetrate the skin. And some we ingest directly from our lips or hands. A little side note about lips. I used to be, and did you guys know that you could be addicted to chapstick? If it's got paraffin in it, that is an addictive substance. I learned that maybe 10 years ago, before essential oils and doTERRA came into my life. So again, what did I switch to? Vaseline. Didn't know better. So now I use only doTERRA's lip balm. And I know that I can lick on that all I want and give it to my kids and it's safe. So what we can do is take that and switch it over to something else. And actually what I've noticed is now I don't need a tube of chapstick in my car, in my pocket, at my work, because I'm not addicted to it. I've weaned myself off the paraffin. And now I may only need a little bit of chapstick, like maybe when I get off work and I get in the car, or maybe just at night before I go to bed. So I don't need it all that often, even though I have like 10 tubes scattered all over the house. Does anybody else use the lip balm? Which is your favorite flavor? Mine's herbal because it's got spearmint in it, and spearmint kind of plumps the lips a little.
I like original. I like the wild orange and peppermint.
Good deal. Tropical for Kathy. Okay, so let's talk about household products. So what are some products in your home that you're using in your house that you'd really like to swap out? Or maybe something that you did swap out and you'd like to share what you did instead. I'll just share, I don't have any sprays or wipes anymore in my home. I've replaced those completely. I use this is where it gets really silly. So I don't use Clorox wipes anymore. That used to be my favorite thing to like clean the bathroom down with. But I switched over to a non-toxic baby wipe because I don't have time to make my own wipes. Non-toxic baby wipe. And then I actually put essential oils in it. So I just open it up and I have this water mixture with essential oils in it. I just pour that in it. You can do that with paper towels. I just thought the baby wipes were easier.
So I've swapped out all of my household cleaners. We've talked about it before. Did you have a comment, Pam? You want to share something?
I've just been using the diluted On Guard cleaner in a spray bottle and a microfiber cloth.
Yes.
Because I feel like I go through paper towels like, there's no tomorrow. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
What do you clean
Yes.
with that? Is it just all surfaces?
mostly the kitchen counters, and I've just got a drawer full of the microfiber. So I use one and then don't reuse it. Put it in the laundry. I've been doing just bathroom counters and kitchen counters with that.
Okay. So I will clean my toilets with the concentrate as well.
Mhm.
You can use a microfiber for that, but I tend to use a thinner cloth. I have a flannel sheet that we cut up to make toilet paper out of. So I just started using that because the squares are really small, and then throw them in a little bin, and then I wash them all eventually. So
I swapped out.
For real toilet paper?
no, it's we call it like family cloth. It was when
Oh.
So I actually have this. I posted it on Facebook of my girls cutting up this flannel sheet when the toilet paper shortage was happening. And so us girls switched to that. And so we had these little bins with these little like cut up squares of this flannel sheet. And that's what we use. And then we put it in a little bin and I would just wash them. So.
Well, this might be a little TMI, but before I hit menopause, I was using washable pads and I was using something else called a cup instead of tampons because of all the toxins you absorb from those products that you put in a very near and dear place.
Yeah, the vaginal canal is actually can absorb things just as well as the gum tissue can. It's the same kind of skin, really. Very absorptive, and actually is one of those places for internal usage for essential oils and other things. There's other things that they use for, medicine wise for that. So, if you think about it, that's how you would take something for a yeast infection. So it absorbs that as well. And it's also self-cleaning. So how cool is that? But yeah, there's a lot of cases where you hear of women who abandon the traditional tampons and pads and move to cloth and cups, and how it corrects different hormonal issues for them that maybe appeared, like maybe PCOS is a big example. Endometriosis is another one, and those symptoms start to subside just by changing. It's incredible how our body responds to non-toxic things when we start to, take out the toxins of our life.
I didn't know that could be one of the symptoms of using disposable products would be endometriosis. So
what ends up happening is PCOS and endometriosis are often misdiagnosed. And Nicole, you might have something to say about this as well. So a lot of times when women have like issues with their cycles, like doctors are really quick to like slap something on it, when really it just comes down to, let's just take the toxins out and see what happens. Or they're really quick to put them on birth control. I felt so bad. My sister was telling me that she's on a type of birth control. She's been on it for years that gives her no cycle. She hasn't had a period in over 5 years. And I just was like, oh my gosh, like that's so bad for you. Your body needs to have that. So, because it's a self-cleaning part of your body. So it needs to be doing that until you hit an age where that stops happening and then your body knows what to do. So does anybody else have anything to add on those types of personal hygiene products?
I wanted to just mention a little bit about what you said, because I think that it is, I personally am I'm pretty passionate about that. I think women, if you are having a cycle, you should consider doing what we're talking about, at least buying natural, like more like the cotton natural products. But because like what Jennifer said, I mean, there's so many stories. Once you go down that rabbit hole, you will hear all the stories from people that have had.
Papa, too much.
Okay, I'm
The whole blue bag.
Sorry. If you go down that once you go down that rabbit hole, you will hear story after story from women that say, you know, just by doing that one thing, their cycle regulated or their pains stopped. And like Jennifer said, it's one of my pet peeves is like a woman goes to a doctor and tells them, you know, they have this problem. One of their number one go-tos is putting them on the pill. And we know that that's a hormonal thing. It's messing with your hormones. It's not a good thing to remove a cycle from a woman's body. So that's all they have. They don't really address the problem. They're just putting a Band-Aid on it, and they're actually creating more of a problem because we know that there are problems that the pill can cause for your health and wellness. So if we could educate more women on this topic of the toxins that just that alone we're exposing our bodies to on a monthly basis, to one of the most absorbent parts of our bodies, is just crazy that we're doing that and we're taught to do that. And we don't know any better because our mom passes it down to us. You know, it's just like one of those things like your mom with a Lysol, that's what you're taught.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that, you know, back before disposable products, women used more natural products. They used things like, but it wasn't like today we have advanced to where it's a better system, you know, like Kim's talking about. You can go on Etsy now and find really nice hand sewn cloth pads and you're good, you know.
And now they have the cloth underwear that are absorbent.
Right, and that too. And we can get those types of things for our teenage daughters, and we can help to educate them on these things. I'm passionate about this, and I think that a lot of us in our culture, we're also taught that like, ew, it's yucky, like that's a yucky thing, like you don't want to touch, like some women have like an adverse thought about even just dealing with the blood and stuff. But it's really, if we can just get over that and just accept that it's just a part of like being a woman, then I think more women also would be more open to these natural methods, because you do have to deal with that. I mean, it's not just wrapping up and throwing in the garbage. You've got to, you know, either if you're using a cup, you've got to dump it and you've got to know how to use it. You've got to kind of be more intimate with your body and understand like where my cervix is, or what this cup is doing. And I think that if we would understand the body and the cycle, I'm really passionate about women's health, so that I think we would have less problems. Women would have less problems because we deserve to understand our bodies, and so many women do not, and it's not fair.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, I love your passion. That was amazing. Nicole, we'll probably have you teach Women's Health Week, because that's the kind of stuff we're going to dive into. And so I want to give that its due diligence when we start to talk about hormone disruptors and what to do. And what's really interesting is that there's a lot of women who have worked with in the past who have told me, well, I'm in menopause, so I'm not really dealing with that stuff anymore. And they start using oils and they start getting a period again. And they're like, no, I didn't want that. But I'm like, but the thing is, the reason why you didn't have one is for some unnatural reason or something your body was still needing to finish that off. So it's not completely surprising when you incorporate something into the body that's supposed to help the body work better. The body's going to start to respond to that. And sometimes it looks like that. And I can't tell you how many times I've had women come to me, what oil can I use as a birth control? Well, it doesn't work that way. It's going to make sure that you have a better reproductive system. So that means more babies, right? Or actually what I say is more consistent cycles so you can track it better. Yes, Kimberly, it's also an exit pathway for toxins. Okay, so let me go back to my notes really quick. So are there any other products in your homes? We just talked about feminine hygiene products and cleaning sprays. Is there anything else?
I mentioned
Yes.
earlier is I don't have an oil solution for yard work, but if you like a really green yard and you want to be weed free, you're introducing really bad chemicals into your home if you use yard chemicals. And I talked with a gardener before and she said, well, if you don't mind putting up with the dandelions and some weeds, really only thing you need to put on your yard is lime, because anything else is going to cause cancer. It's a carcinogen.
Yeah.
So if you have pets, if you have children and they go out into the yard and then they come in the house, guess what? Now you have those yard chemicals in your house as well.
And sleeping with your babies in their bed. Yeah, no, I'm really passionate about that. And I love dandelions. In fact, last year I started planting clover, trying to get a clover yard because it's better for the bees and the environment. And you don't have to mow clover as often. So my team was pretty excited about that.
I switched out regular, popular brand mouthwash and I started using our On Guard. And, when I use those, I call them secular, secular mouthwashes. I always felt like yuck, because it's just I don't know what's in it, but like it gives your mouth a bad feeling. And it has like fumes in it or something, but I love the On Guard, the way it tastes, and I don't feel yucky when I use it. And also, I was really excited that it has rosemary because it has been, can be beneficial for gum rejuvenation, which is what I heard in our continuing ed before. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, I love the mouthwash. I've been getting a lot of dental work done since November, and we're doing kind of a restoration thing with my teeth. And with all that work done, he has been pretty impressed with my gum tissue. We did something where they laser the gums to contour them and give them a good contour so they look healthier and they're shaped right. Because if you smile and you look at your mouth, your smile goes up, you can see that your gums go back. And so they were making that happen for me. And when I came in 2 weeks later, he was surprised at how amazing my gum tissue looked. And that was that On Guard mouthwash all the way. And when I was at the dentist one time, I had all that taste in my mouth. And so they gave me a little bit of Listerine to rinse. And I was willing to take it because I needed to get that taste of the cement out of my mouth. And it was strong. It burned. It was the worst. Did the trick, but it still was really uncomfortable. Speaking of dentists, something that I found out, we all know that mercury is not something we want in our mouth. We also know that fluoride is not something we want in our mouth. Did you know that the cement they use to put in crowns actually contains fluoride? I did not know that. So I had to request special cement just for me that's fluoride free.
I'm looking for a biological dentist for that same reason, not just because I might need fillings, but also to have any mercury fillings taken out. You want somebody that is very sensitive to where those pieces of filling go as they're getting them out of your mouth. You want it to be removed carefully and safely and not just re-release. I mean, you're absorbing it through your teeth where it is, but if they have to take out a filling because it's, now there's more decay around the filling, they wear out after a while, right? You want to make sure they remove it well, and it's going to be costly because insurance doesn't, if you even have dental insurance, it's more than just regular dentist, but I think my health is worth it.
Yeah, for sure. We have a couple of biological dentists here in Kansas City, and they are very busy people, for sure. So definitely way to go, because we have nerves. So I talk about the nerves in the bottoms of our feet. Well, we have nerves in our teeth too that are all connected to body systems. So if you have one tooth that's got an issue, it's connected to a body system. So you can put oils on that body system that are going to treat that part of your body well, and it's going to help your teeth as well. So, okay, we're almost done. And really, this conversation has gone exactly the way I wanted it to. I do want to talk about things that we put on our body. So while we don't have a makeup line, there are a lot of amazing non-toxic makeup lines out there. So those are available. But also our skincare is really important. Using the Barrage and using the Skin Essentials products are going to be the way to go. I finally I ran out of Barrage for 2 months and just kept forgetting to order it. And I finally started ordering it again. And I've been complaining about my skin being really dry for a couple of months, to the point where the wrinkles just looked a little bit deeper, and starting to use my Barrage again. And I feel like I'm looking younger again. So I was missing that for sure. And then we have a lotion. Am I the only one that puts lotion like all over my body after a shower?
No.
Nicole's like, yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
I
I
do.
do. You do, Patty?
Mhm.
So I use the lotion that we have. It's a carrier lotion. It's unscented. And I have a little trick. You guys ready for my trick? So it's a thicker lotion, so it's actually a little harder to smooth on. I spray like 4 sprays of the Beautiful Body Mist into it, and it kind of thins it out, and it makes it smell so good and feel so silky. So that's my little trick. Okay, so then we also have we have a lot of On Guard products that we talked about already. I think we covered everything. So the last thing I do want to talk about are those candles. I have to say, I miss candles. I miss Glade candles. They smell so good. Sometimes I'll go into someone's house and they'll have a scented candle, and I just love it. So I ended up finding non-toxic candles with the wicks are made out of something that doesn't have the carcinogens in it. I'm not totally pro
Lead
with
free.
this. Yeah, I had to
Thank you,
ask
lead
for
free.
help from people, and they sent me more information. So I ordered a bunch of them because it was when our weather was starting to shift and get really cold, and I was worried about power, and so I was getting all these candles to light. So I ended up putting a couple in vases and stuff. And my favorite scent of all time when it's cold is the cinnamons and the cloves. I loved that cinnamon apple candle that Glade has. So during the winter season, I always like to diffuse those types of oils. Have you guys discovered like a diffuser blend that you just love that just replace those scented candles for you?
For me, it would be Harvest Spice.
If you Google doTERRA diffuser blends, you'll get a bunch of PDFs. Like I do the images, a lot of PDFs of all these blends. It's like crazy amount. And I've saved a couple of them in the VIP group under the photo album. So they're in there. So if you ever need some kind of inspiration, I have discovered there is a blend for every scent you could think of. Like there's one called Sugar Cookie, and I kid you not, when I diffuse that one, I'm like, is someone cooking something? And there's a cinnamon roll blend that actually smells like cinnamon rolls.
Lisa puts recipes on, diffuser recipes on, I think every day on her Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
And there are a lot of them, like pina colada and springtime air, and been trying them.
Yeah, and if you go and do a search for doTERRA diffuser blends, you'll get a page that's got like 10 of them on there. So if you're wanting something that's like a spring blend, like you can find one in there for that. There are all kinds of seasons. They're also on doTERRA's social media pages as well. If you go into the photos, you'll find a lot of them in there too. So a lot of good stuff. Well, that's all I really have tonight. I just wanted to have a conversation about toxins and everything. So I just want to really challenge everybody when you are going through the week, think about your normal cleaning routine, your normal hygiene and beauty routine, flip over those labels and read those ingredients and start thinking about what you can do instead. And just start that process for what you do still have going on in the home that you need to get rid of. Not only that, you'll save a ton of money.
I wanted to give a shout out to Lynzia for coming. She's our newcomer tonight. If you don't recognize that name, she's my neighbor down here in Florida.
Hello.
Kimberly,
And
you
we
would be
also-
the best neighbor ever.
And then we have Dream Homes in Costa Rica. Is that your mom, Nicole?
That is my friend Roya. Roya, are you there?
Okay.
Hey, Roya.
Hey, there she is.
Hello. Sorry, I forgot to switch my account and come with my personal name.
Well, I'm totally fine with Dream Home in Costa Rica. I was all over that. I think some of you probably saw my Facebook post this morning. Clearly, I'm not in a tropical location. I got a lot of private messages though, even people I work with thinking I'm not going to be in today. So anyways, thank you guys for joining us. I did record this. I'll send the replay out. Even though we kind of talked about some really personal issues, I think everyone mostly is women in this. So, and if they're not, they can pass that information off to their wives, girlfriends, sisters, mothers, whatever. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the record.
Off the record. Yeah.